your kind of company.
Tonight on CTV3 News, enforcement of the sugar industry regulations license to import and export sugar placed on pause by order of the court. Prime Minister John Bressenia responds to opposition leader on leaked cabinet paper on definitive agreement. Single-use plastics and styrofoam, why are they still on the shelves? We'll tell you what's happening with the Environmental Protection Pollution for Plastics Regulations 2020. Student of Champine Ridge Government School takes second place in the National Spelling Bee competition. And a drop in LPG prices. These are some of the stories we have for you tonight in our newscast for Friday, June 2nd, 2023.
Special guest in the audience tonight, legendary record executive, Mr. Clive Davis.
My voice is gone. What? You start the show tonight. No talking back. I'm your mother.
There's a boy I know. He's the one I dream of.
What's your name again?
Whitney Elizabeth Houston.
Wake up! It's on. It's on. Listen. Well, I know if he really loves me.
My dream, sing what I want to sing, be how I want to be.
I say a prayer with every heartbeat.
Reach as big an audience as I can.
Common criticism of you, your music isn't black enough.
Look, I don't know how to sing black, and I don't know how to sing white either. I know how to sing.
Woo! Oh, I wanna dance with somebody. I wanna feel the heat with somebody. Yeah, I wanna dance with somebody. With somebody who loves me.
I might have just heard the greatest voice of her generation.
Maybe.
Maybe. It's got to have a hook.
A hook?
Yeah.
I'll give it a hook.
And now, the hottest match of the evening. Get ready for action! Here they come. Amazing! They're unstoppable, unbeatable. They have him on the ropes. The heat rises to the top. 1, 2, and 3.
They're on fire. Chiladas.
Fire up the taste of Belize with the new Chiladas Crunchy Tortilla Taco Chips in its hot chili flavor. Fiery habanero brings the heat.
They're on fire. Chiladas.
From Snackers, done right, done here.
I wanted to show them something that wasn't an illusion. Something that was real. Something that they could see and touch.
Humans and dinosaurs can't coexist. We created an ecological disaster.
Ellie Sattler.
Alan Grant.
You didn't come out all this way just to catch up now, did you?
You coming or what?
That's another plane, right?
Not exactly.
Don't move.
Appreciating the reality of aging hospital infrastructure countrywide, while bearing in mind the increasing risk of hurricanes and floods, this UP administration has ramped up efforts to secure capital for new hospital infrastructure to be established in strategic locations. Earlier this year, we were most pleased to secure a $32 million grant from our partner, the Republic of China, Taiwan, to build a new hospital in San Pedro to serve Ambergiski and Kikaka. $32 million. Again, the UDP, they claim they put it into their budget for about 3 years, boasting that they will build the San Pedro Hospital. It was never built. It is going to be built by the People's United Party government.
Good evening with your news, also simulcast on Fiesta FM 106.7. I am Joanna Rodriguez. The enforcement of the sugar industry regulations license to import-export sugar has been placed on pause by order of the court. The challenge brought forward by BSI, ASR, and the Corozal Cane Producers Association was slated to be heard on Thursday to determine if an interim injunction will be issued on the regulations. In court on Thursday, however, we are informed that the judge recommended that instead of listening to the application for an urgent injunction, the regulations are to be placed on pause until the case is heard on July 21st, giving both parties time to prepare their case. In the meantime, exportation is to continue as it has been without the need to apply for a license with the Sugar Industry Control Board. As we had previously reported, the challenge filed by BSI, ASR, and the Corozal Sugarcane Producers Association was made against 4 defendants, including the Attorney General, the Minister of Agriculture, the Sugar Industry Control Board, and the Controller of Supplies. The challenge, as we have reported, makes provisions against each defendant and several sections of the regulations, which the claimants say contravenes their rights as independent businesses entities in our country. In total, the challenge calls into questions 9 sections of the regulations, as well as several breaches made to the Constitution through the imposition of these regulations. The Belize Sugarcane Farmers Association has scheduled a press conference for early next week to discuss the current situation involving the regulations as well as fair trade premiums. On Monday, we will have as guest on the Despierta Belize Morning Show, Minister of Agriculture Jose Abelardo May, discussing the new legislation. For the past few days, headlines across the country have been focused on leaked white paper presented by Prime Minister John Briceño to Cabinet on May 23rd. That document had to do with proposed legislation that would facilitate the development of a cruise tourism terminal in the vicinity of the Suboon River. It follows a definitive agreement entered into by the previous administration in October 2020 with the principals of Portico Enterprises Limited, or Port of Magical Belize. During the discussion, it has also been revealed that former Minister of Economic Development Erwin Contreras was signatory to that agreement, presumably without the knowledge of his cabinet colleagues at the time. Earlier this week, opposition leader Shine Barrow raised major criticism at the Prime Minister for putting forward the controversial paper. During an interview on Thursday here in Orange Walk, PM Brisenia responded to the leader of the opposition's comment that the leak of the Cabinet Confidential on Portico indicates that there is a revolt in Cabinet and that all is not well within the rank and file of the Brisenia administration. The PM also affirmed that the reason why the paper includes all the concessions and fiscal incentives contained in the Contreras definitive agreement was for Cabinet to see what the UDP had signed.
I find that laughable to a person who is just a placeholder because everybody knows that he can be changed at any moment. But that's their issue. The important point that I want to make is that everything has to come to cabinet. Not because it comes to cabinet is going to be accepted. When it came to cabinet, there was a discussion. The Minister of Tourism started to raise the issues that was in the definitive agreement. I need to point out the definitive agreement is a UDP document. It was signed by the United Democratic Party government in October of 2020. And so it was attached to the cabinet paper because we're not hiding anything. The idea was for cabinet members can see what the UDP signed and then for us to decide whether we want to support that definitive agreement or not. It is not for one minister or me as the Prime Minister to say, oh, we're not going to decide. We as a cabinet, everything comes to the cabinet. In the cabinet, ministers raise issues, the Minister of Tourism, the Minister of Education, the Minister of National Security, all of them are raising different concerns, and that's when I said, this paper, let it go back. I asked them for Minister Koi, as a Minister of State in my office, to sit with Minister Mala as a Minister of Tourism to come up with to an agreement as to what is it that we're prepared to take to the National Assembly to pass into law.
The PM also added that the focus of this entire situation should be the fact that his administration has created the environment for investment that attracted Royal Caribbean and Boscalis.
Portico or Port Manchical will not get nothing more nor nothing less than what the UDP government gave State Bank and gave Harvest Key. What is important to point out that here, our government has created that investment environment, not that a company like Boscalis and Royal Caribbean, two multinational companies that are prepared to invest in a port in Belize, something that is much needed. That is what we need to be celebrating. And I just can't understand how some people are making a big deal about this. We're supposed to be celebrating that accomplishment. But I want to assure again the Belizean people that that definitive agreement when it came to Cabinet is because we wanted to share it with Cabinet. So our Cabinet can look at it and decide what is it that we're prepared to accept. So the leader of the opposition, he likes to spit in the air, and when he spits in the air, that spit falls right back on his face.
By now, it's no secret that the Belize Sugarcane Farmers Association has not. The Statistical Institute of Belize has published its latest statistics on Belize's monthly consumer price index survey, which shows that for the month of April 2023, Belizean households saw the cost of regularly purchased goods and services rise by 4.6%, the lowest recorded since early 2021. With food prices still considerably higher than they were during the same month of last year, the category of food and non-alcoholic beverages once again accounted for almost 3/4 of the national inflation rate for the month. Transport, usually the second major contributor to rising consumer prices, had only a negligible impact on inflation for the month, as average prices for fuel fell slightly below the levels recorded in April of last year. On the other hand, the housing, water, electricity, gas, and other fuels category declined by 1.6% for the month primarily due to lower liquefied petroleum gas (LPG) prices. The average cost of a 100-pound cylinder of LPG decreased by $26.98 from $149.94 in April 2022 to $122.96 in April 2023. Similarly, prices for goods and services within the category of information and communication recorded an overall decline of 1.6% for the month, mainly due to lower prices for internet provision services. Across all municipalities, with an inflation rate of 7.3%, well above the national average, the twin towns of San Ignacio and Santa Elena recorded the highest rate of increase in consumer prices for April 2023. This was mainly due to above-average increases in prices for various food items, taxi fares, restaurant services, pet food, laundry. On the other hand, Corozal Town recorded the lowest inflation rate at 2.5% as consumers in this municipality saw lower than average increases in prices for food items, restaurant services, pet food, medicine products, and doctor consultation fees. Orange Oak Town recorded an inflation rate of 4.1%. Over the one-month period between March 2023 and April 2023, consumer prices decreased by 0.4% on average. Prices for food and non-alcoholic beverages declined by 1.4%, the first month-over-month decrease recorded in over a year for this category. Housing, water, electricity, gas, and other fuels saw a decrease of 0.4%, mainly due to lower LPG prices. These decreases offset a 0.3% rise in the transport category, which was the result of a small increase in the average price of regular gasoline between March and April of this year. The year-to-date inflation rate for the first 4 months of 2023 when compared to the same period in 2022 stood at 5.9%. In January 2020, the government of Belize entered the phase out of the single-use plastics and styrofoam. It was made law through the Environmental Protection Pollution for Plastics Regulation 2020. The then Minister of Environment, Godwin Hall, signed that regulation into law as a means of reducing plastic and styrofoam pollution in a phased-out manner and as a result have lawful means of pollution control within the land and sea spaces. It has been 3 years since the law came into effect, but as can be seen on a daily basis, plastic and styrofoam pollution seems to still be an issue. In fact, shelves at the local supermarket have single-use plastics and foam plates for sale. We spoke with the Department of the Environment to get an update as to what has been transpiring since the law has been enacted and why the products are still available in the market.
We all know that in 2020 we passed the pollution from plastics regulation, and inside that regulations have certain standards, 2 basic standards, and 2 most important standards to remember is 1, that the item has to biodegrade within 365 days, so technically a year, in its natural environment, its natural state, the weathering from sun, the beating of the rain, it has to degrade it in those days. And secondly, it has to be 50% bio-based content. What we have done and what we're doing right now is that we have done a market surveillance to see what items that are prohibited are still on the shelves, right? To be able to know what we still have in stock and in country and what we need to dispose of. And so we have done that market surveillance. We've noticed that one of the items that people still have a lot are the bottle caps. The cups and then the covers for coffee cups, right? And so we are working in those businesses to be able to, dispose of those properly, because they were given a time of how long they need to keep that on the shelf and by when that needs to be removed.
The department has also found out that other products are on the shelves that may not meet the standards set out in law. For this matter, sample testing is being carried out.
What we are currently waiting for is a conformity test. What we have done is we've obtained samples within the market that we have here that people import biodegradable items. Those same biodegradable items that are being imported now have been samples have been taken and sent abroad to see if those qualify for the standards that we have, the two standards, 365 days and then the 50% bio-based content. As soon as we get that test, of course, we will have that information available to the public, and we will be contacting those companies that do not meet those standards. And from there, we move forward, right? We get to see what we do next, what our next step is. So we're just waiting for that test. And I know one of the things people are saying is that they really do nothing because we still sit on the shelf. But everything takes time. You know, these are people business. This is how they earn money. You can't just take that away from them. So we are working with those businesses along with the Belize Bureau of Standards to ensure that we're doing this well, where people aren't losing that money, because people do invest. Things are hard, and so you invest, and so we can't just say no, to a business. So we are working along with them. And that is what we're waiting for. We're waiting for that test. We've sent it off about a month now and it's to a lab. And so we're just waiting for that test to come back. And then we can reveal that information to the public.
In the weeks ahead, the results will be in, and the Department of the Environment will make the public know its contents via official government communique. And on a very serious note, you could be fined for having more than 10 single-use plastic items in your home, which includes grocery bags. As per the Environmental Protection Pollution on Plastic Regulations 2020, prohibited items include disposable plastic and foam cups, plates, containers, including plastic forks, spoons, straws, and lids. The 2023 Atlantic hurricane season has begun, and everyone must be prepared for the threat that storms can pose to our country. It starts with having a hurricane preparation plan that can be very helpful to preserve life and then property. We spoke with the environmental technician at the Department of the Environment, who told us that while we are just 2 days into the hurricane season, the entire community must do our individual part in order to maintain properties and drains clean from garbage that can end up in our rivers and eventually the Caribbean Sea.
So one of the things that we're encouraging, and NEMA just started that this morning, they had a session out at their headquarters here in Belmopan. They were advising the public on how to prepare for a hurricane. And what was very important that they mentioned was, one, properly dispose of your waste. That is one of the main concerns when there is a lot of flooding, because it takes the water a long time to recede because there's a lot of blockage of drains. And so it's to clean up your drains, of course, properly dispose of your waste. Of course, get your family plan going, because it's very important to be prepared for a disaster, a natural disaster. And so one of the things that we're doing is encouraging persons to clean up their yards, of course, right? Because you have the infestation of mosquitoes as well that will come next. And so we want to encourage persons to clean up their drains and so forth, and to properly dispose of their waste. It is very important to do that. I know it doesn't take a lot, right, when you think about a small drain, but when you look at a greater impact it would have if everybody improperly disposed of waste, how that would impact us, right? And so it's to encourage people to do that, and that is how you prepare for a hurricane. You ensure that you are, of course, your family is prepared. You have a family plan, of course, ready, your emergency plan, and then be able to have your yard clean, so that should in case we experience a hurricane, we don't have a major flooding with all the trash coming down, because all that trash will end up in the drains, the rivers, and then eventually out at sea. And then, of course, we'll have blockage of drains, and that will then cause another issue.
Coming up next, 10-year-old Aiden Correa takes spells his way to top level of the National Spelling Bee competition. Stay tuned.
If you're lucky, no matter what life hands you, you can always count on your closest friends to be there.
Oh, thank you. My purse was exhausted. We are all blissfully unaware when our lives are about to change.
Life is full of surprises.
I'm ready to lose my virginity.
Excuse me?
I got the list.
What list? There's a whole brouhaha at school about this MILF list.
For real?
Our lunchtime fodder is not usually this lowbrow, I swear.
Really? Who have you been eating with?
It's a big step up for Che and me.
I've been having exit out of grief sex. It's just sex.
The world has changed since you've been out there. Men have feelings too.
Life's too short not to try something new.
And just like that, I realized some things are better left in the past. But maybe not everything.
Come on!
When hungry or craving, when laughter or tears, enjoy the best snacking or flavors are here. Asadas, bocadas, chiladas, doradas, delicious for snacking, the right is on here.
Done right, done here.
LG dual inverter compressor cools air faster by operating at speeds as high as 120 Hz with more stability compared to conventional models. It also saves up to 70% more energy by operating at speeds as low as 10 Hz with more stability. It reduces torque vibration down to 40% for quiet outdoor unit operation. Stable operation with low vibrations also results in increased durability.
There is good news for Belizean consumers tonight, as the price of liquid petroleum gas (LPG) will see a significant decrease of 37 cents per gallon effective Monday, June 5th, 2023. This means that the wholesale price for LPG will now be $3.51, down from $3.88. In urban areas, the retail price will be $1.17 per pound, or $5.11 per gallon, down from $5.48 per gallon. Prices in the rural areas will decrease to $1.19 per pound, or $5.21 per gallon, down from $5.58 per gallon. According to the Supplies Control Unit (SCU) in the Ministry of Agriculture, Food Security and Enterprise, the decreased 37 cents per gallon is a result of a reduction in the acquisition price of both butane and propane. Belize's best young spellers today convened in Spanish Lookout, where the National Spelling Bee finals took place during most of this morning. The National Coca-Cola Spelling Bee has been investing in primary school students through this coveted competition for 26 years. At the end of this morning's intense rounds of spelling, coming up at first place was Kelsey Chi from Bullet Tree SDA School in the Cayo District. And 10-year-old student of Chan Pine Ridge Government School, Aidan Caria, placed in at second place. We spoke to the Standard 4 boy via Zoom today, who told us how it all went down at the Nationals today in Spanish Lookout.
I prepared by studying and reading, and my mother and brothers helped me a lot. Even my teacher helped me during 2:30 to 3:30 in my classes. They helped me by taking me up with the words and giving me the pronunciations. Felt very excited and challenged. I got a laptop, a phone, a card, a scholarship, and a book grant.
And what will you do with your gifts?
I will play and read and study. I want all the students to study hard, read a lot, and study their words, their vocabulary, and
Because they can also be winners, right?
yes.
All right. And anything else you want to tell the people who helped you during this process, Aiden?
Thank you, and thank you very much for helping me study. And in the end, I got a lot of prizes.
All participants today received consolation prizes and a certificate recognizing their participation at the national level of the Spelling Bee competition. CTV3 News congratulates all winners and Aiden Korea for bringing to Orange Walk the second place. We tried getting comment from Aiden's Standard 4 teacher and tutor, but she was unavailable since they were traveling back home from Spanish Lookout. The human race has a mission that may seem difficult to accomplish, yet for every reason, including saving our very existence, it is important that effective immediately we stop polluting Mother Nature. Here in Belize, the Department of the Environment is tasked to do all it can to put an end to plastic and styrofoam pollution. This is extremely of utmost importance after the government enacted laws to combat the issue. Tonight, we highlight the introduction of a green policy that the Department of Environment has put to use in order to reduce single-use plastics and styrofoam products at work.
What we're doing within our ministry is that we are giving the entire staff a food container, a reusable food container, and encouraging them to use these food containers to reduce the amount of plastic bags that we bring within our building, the amount of styrofoams that we will get during lunch. And so the department and the ministry have developed a green policy within our conference rooms and our auditorium to be able to have caterers who will cater only reusable items. So we'll have our containers here, we'll send it off. For example, if we have a conference, we'll send off our food containers and they would package our food in those. And so we want to reduce the amount of plastic bags and styrofoams entering our own building.
The policy developed for the Department of the Environment to reduce the amount of single-use plastics and styrofoam that enters your buildings can be adopted by other ministries, departments, and units.
We want to encourage other units, departments, or ministries that would like to do the same initiative within their ministry and don't know the know-how. They can contact us and we could assist them in sharing how our policy has been developed and what we've included in our policy. So just encourage others that may not know how to get started. We can assist you with our own policy for you to see if what we do can work for you, because everything, is adjustable. You can't just do one thing for everything, right? One size fit all doesn't work for everything. So what we're doing is be able to let those ministries reach out to us freely, of course, and advise them and encourage them of how to go about doing this within their own departments or ministries.
The department can be reached at telephone number 822-2819, or you can send an email to envirodepartment@environment.gov.bz for more information. In this next report, let's take a look at Belize's total exports for the month of April. Statistics show that for the month of April 2023, exports amounted to $45.9 million, representing a 9.6% or $4 million increase when compared to exports for April 2022, which were valued at $41.9 million. While almost all export commodities recorded reduced earnings for the month, these decreases were offset by revenues from sugar. Earnings from this product more than tripled from $6.5 million in April of 2022 to $24.2 million in April of 2023 as a result of variations in the schedule of sugar shipments between this year and last year. Crude petroleum was the only other major export that saw an increase in revenues for the month, rising by a modest $0.5 million from $0.23 million to $0.28 million. On the other hand, banana exports recorded a significant decline in earnings, falling by half from $7.5 million in April of last year to $3.7 million in April of this year. Similarly, revenues from citrus products decreased sharply by 70% from $3.7 million to $1.1 million, primarily due to substantially reduced orange concentrate exports during the month. The country's non-major exports also declined markedly during the month as earnings from molasses dropped by $3.4 million and revenues from animal feed went down by $1.3 million. Additionally, exports of red kidney beans were down from $1.7 million to $0.8 million, while revenues from black eyed peas decreased from $0.6 million to $0.3 million. Earnings from the European Union, the main destination for Belize's considerable sugar exports for the month, were up by $15.8 million. Revenues from Mexico grew from $0.9 million to $1.2 million, primarily attributed to exports of cattle, while exports to the other countries category saw an increase from $1.5 million to $2.3 million, mainly driven by exports of whole lobsters. On the other hand, earnings from the United States of America dropped by 50% from $11.7 million in April 2022 to $5.9 million in April 2023, a decline that was mostly due to the notable drop in molasses exports during the month. Likewise, as a result of the considerable reduction in banana exports in April of this year, earnings from the United Kingdom decreased from $7.4 million to $4.4 million. Revenues from CARICOM declined from $8.7 million in April of last year to $6.6 million in April of this year, owing to smaller orange concentrate exports, while earnings from neighboring Central America were down from $6.2 million to $4.6 million, the result of decreased exports of animal feed. Merchandise exports for the period January to April 2023 totaled $123.9 million, down 11.8% or $16.6 million from $140.5 million during the same period last year. Taking a look at Belize's total imports for the month of April 2023, they were valued at $201.9 million. This was a decrease of 13.6% or $31.8 million from imports for April 2022, which totaled $233.6 million. Among the commodity categories, mineral fuels and lubricants and machinery and transport equipment recorded the most notable reductions and accounted for most of the decline in total imports for the month. Notwithstanding the overall decline in imports, a few commodity categories did experience noticeable increases during the month. Merchandise imports for the first 4 months, January to April 2023, amounted to $852.1 million, down by a marginal 0.6% or $5 million from the same period last year, when total imports were valued at $857.1 million. Despite this slight downturn in overall imports, there were pronounced differences around several of the major commodity categories over the period. There is dire need to get out of the slumber of inertia that hinders action to reduce single-use plastic and styrofoam. This is especially true and more so when the entire world talks about carbon footprints and sustainable development. But knowing the jargon is not good enough, and we all know this too well. And to change lip service into real action, the Department of the Environment has come up with discounts that will be available to shoppers around the country who go green this coming Monday, June 5th, 2023. An entire app and link will be available that can enable you all sorts of discounts when you go green on your Monday shopping with participating businesses.
The department is gearing up in celebrating World Environment Day, which is celebrated every year on June. The department is gearing up in celebrating World Environment Day, which is celebrated every year on June 5th since 1974. The United Nations selected this day to highlight the importance of the environment and, of course, to educate people on thematic environmental concerns that would arise within those years. This year, the theme is Beat Plastic Pollution. We all know that the government has started a phase out of single-use plastics, and so it's very important to note that though we have started that phase out, we are still doing other activities. And so World Environment Day is just one of them that came about with the team. And so this year, the department is doing a video competition that will allow general audience, children to general public, to be able to join this competition to explain or to showcase and telling us how they themselves at home or within their own community can fight plastic pollution. And so that's basically what we are looking for in the video. It is open to the general public. It is one submission per person. We have already been receiving some videos. We want more, so we have options. And also, some groups have reached out to us as well, asking if they can submit a video. And so we have told them, yes, submit your video. And so they have submitted as well. So we're looking forward to getting more videos. And of course, that's the way how you do a competition. You want have options, right? And so now with the prizes, because I know everyone wants to know what prizes are. So the first prize is actually $400 plus a green package. The green package technically consists of items, green alternatives that you as an individual can use on a daily basis. Example, a food container, your reusable utensils, your water bottle, your reusable bags when shopping. And so those are what will be in the green package. The second prize is $300 and a green package. The third prize is $100 and a green package. The reason why we keep being consistent with the green package is because this is the entire reason why World Environment Day is happening and what we want to let people know that green alternatives and using these reusable items start with us making the change. Every day on a daily basis, we choose to make the right choice. And so we're giving them that option. With options, you get to choose and make better choices.
Are you someone who is always on your phone taking selfies and videos? If you answered yes, turn up the volume in your television and radio set because there is some money that can be yours. The Department of the Environment has embarked on a World Environment Day video competition, and there are 3 cash prizes for the entries that make it to the top. This year, World Environment Day will be celebrated under the theme Beat Plastic Pollution. You have 2 more days to submit your entries. Deadline is June 4th. More information can be obtained on the department's Facebook page or on their website. There will be an internal and external judging panel, and winners will be contacted directly. And that's the news. We invite you to join us for another newscast on Monday, June 5th here on CTV3 and Fiesta FM 106.7. Remember that to read a text version of the news, you can visit our website at ctv3belizenews.com. You can also log on to our Facebook page for current stories at facebook.com/ctv3belizenews or our YouTube channel at ctv3newsbz. Remember to wash your hands and remain safe. From all of us here at CTV3 News, have a safe and pleasant weekend. Thank you for watching and listening. Good night.